Hello, folks, and welcome back to the podcast. Here's your host, Ajo to Enough. Let's talk AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite for Wednesday night, March 22nd or 27th, 2024. I'd say compared to the last 3 weeks, which have been fun editions of AEW Dynamite, aside from Big Business, which kind of felt, in hindsight looking back at it, besides Mercedes, it was a mid-Dynamite, but so nonetheless, we had fun additions the last prior 3 weeks. Dynamite on Wednesday night was good, pretty good. As far as the prior 3 weeks, not as exciting, but still very good. Is, I think, what's the takeaway from just viewing online and whatnot. But nonetheless, fun action was on AEW Dynamite. We saw Ospreay versus Shibata, Swerve versus Takeshita, which was a fun main event. We had the 4-way to determine Julie Hart's challenger at Dynasty for the TBS Championship. A number of stuff. Advancements in the AEW World Tag Team Title Tournament, which I'll get into. First match, right decision. Second match, the decision and how it went about, I think, is what confusing people and what is taking people back. But we'll talk about it all on the podcast today, guys. Anyways, thank you. Like I always say, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. I don't know why you haven't. If it's a me thing or whatnot, but nonetheless, hope you guys enjoy the content and continue to do so and more. Also, notification bell to find out when I go actually post my videos, because sometimes I'm inconsistent, sadly, but I still post out content best I can, so it's interesting. But nonetheless, thank you guys all. And let's get into the podcast, shall we? The episode. So, show started off Will Ospreay versus Katsuyori Shibata. Fun match to open Dynamite. Ospreay announced last week when Bryan Danielson said that Ospreay couldn't walk in his shoes, so he decided to make rounds to challenge Shibata, and that was how things went awry. And the match here was fun. Shibata is a good sound competitor. He and Ospreay have history. Ospreay, his start to AEW, it's been fun. It's been enjoyable. And him versus Bryan at Dynasty, it's only gonna do wonders. Good to see. So, but getting to the match here, it was good. Some A lot of stiff shots back and forth, which you expect with first Shibata, but, you know, this wasn't the whole full throttle, you know, high energy match. You know, Ospreay, you sometimes can expect, but which is a good thing because you can't blow yourself open too many times with Ospreay and going 100 miles an hour, but that is Ospreay. But nonetheless, this match was fun. So, Ospreay a punch on the outside, but Shibata fired back some big stiff shots, like a soccer kick on the apron, and then a suplex on the outside, land some stiff shots, another hard kick to the back, and then back in the ring. They were exchanging some forearms, some chops by Ospreay. Then they were fighting back on the outside. Ospreay took a big boot to the chin, sent him over the barricade, but not completely over. So, Shibata was trying to send Ospreay full throttle over the barricade, but no avail. Ospreay countered, and then wound up doing a springboard forearm off the barricade onto Shibata. Then back in the ring, he had a big springboard forearm for a near fall. Shibata fired back, had some big German suplexes. Ospreay countered with a thrust kick, back and forth. So Shibata locked in a modified SCF, but Will got to ropes. A number of submissions throughout this match, but Ospreay pulled through. Then they were exchanging forearms back and forth. Ospreay landed a big enziguri for a double down. Shibata locked in a choke, but Ospreay would not go idly by, as his arm didn't go down 3 times. Ospreay fired back with some strikes, and then off the ropes he hit a big knee, or a big shot, staggering Shibata, and then a top rope knee over Shibata over the ropes. And then tough exchange. So Ospreay went for the Os cutter. He nailed it, got a 1 count. Shibata landed a big soccer style kick, rocking Ospreay. Only got a near fall, back and forth. But Ospreay would get the upper end, get a German suplex, poison run, and then a big back elbow, only for a near fall. So Ospreay transition got the win here, landing a storm driver, and then a hidden blade on the Shibata. 1, 2, 3. Will Ospreay gets his revenge from 7 years ago and beats Shibata clean in the middle of the ring. Good stuff here. Good stuff. Afterwards, he's showing a sign of respect, and there was that. Yeah. Good stuff. I imagine Brian Ospreay, they're going to at least have another face-to-face prior to Dynasty on April 21st. Speaking of which, Bryan Danielson, next up, they had a vignette. And funny, and certainly rage a number of people I feel online in a way, because talked about Bryan Danielson Jr. or journey, but obviously could not, for certain reasons, go over Bryan Danielson's journey in WWE as Daniel Bryan, but needless to say, hey, at the end of the day, Bryan was in Ring of Honor, was in New Japan, or in Japan, for a certain amount of time. He's been in WWE, and he's now in AEW. At the end of the day, who cares? I mean, although I do agree his WWE run was certainly significant, and yeah. But it is what it is. Young Bucks, they're backstage with Renee Paquette, not Alex Marvez. Not sure why they couldn't bully Marvez, but nonetheless, they talked about a number of reasons as to why they came back. One of the reasons was to retire Sting's old ass, and another was to get back their AEW World Tag Team titles. So there you go. So, and then they were getting sassy about Renee talking about smiling more, and as they left. So there was that. And then we got Young Bucks vs Private Party, which turned out to be a fun match. Quarterfinals in the AEW World Tag Team Title Tournament. Good. So, good match here. Bit all over the place, but still very fun. I mean, great sentiment. Of course, going back to the inaugural AEW World Tag Team Title tournaments in 2019, which of course Private Party upset the Young Bucks. I mean, yeah, but this is good. The fish, yeah. So finally on the outside, as Private Party managed to land Silly String, aka that twisting assisted DT, over the barricade. Mark Quinn was getting beaten down for a good portion of this match, but he finally got the hot tag in Isaiah Cassidy. Brothers A, whichever you want to call him. He hit the moonsault to the outside, followed with a big crossbody back of the ring for a near fall. Young Bucks hit a big slice spread combination on Zay Cassidy for a near fall. Quinn tagged in. They were both very beaten up. Quinn actually rolled up for a near fall and managed to hit Gin Juice, but could not capitalize. And then homage to Young Bucks past, the old Young Bucks, they hit more bang for your buck for their fall. So this at the end of the match, there was a belt or something as referees distracted Rick Knox, I think, and Cassidy used a belt shot for near fall after, but then Nick put Matt's foot on the bottom rope. And then low blow on Quinn. Finally, after some isolation and a stumble by Nicholas Jackson, they hit the EVP trigger for the win. Yeah. Young Bucks advance to the semifinals to face winner of Best Friends versus Undisputed Kingdom, which, spoiler, we found out. And I think it's only right that they're going to go to Dynasty in the finals of the tournament. But hats off to Private Party, hats off. Darby Allin. So, obviously, we and they, well, in a way, are disappointed that he broke his foot and he wasn't able to climb Mount Everest. Now, in a way, glad that Darby's okay. And, you know, Darby's Darby. I mean, I bet even next year, when he tries to climb it again, he's not going to be 100%. I mean, it is what it is. But Darby and Tony Hawk were in a skating rink and they talked about Darby broke his foot, not be able to climb Mount Everest this year, and wanted to for Tony Hawk's charity or cause for a skate park, but not able to do it. So, but he said, "We can find a new way to help and support the cause," which is skatepark.org. Find skate parks around the world to help for kids that do not have a skate park to go to. So there's that. And Tony Hawk would do some tricks holding on to Darby Allin's foot. It is what it is. Chris Jericho and Hook, they were backstage. Jericho was asked by Renee about his business proposition for Hook. Talked about he praised Hook skill set and all, saying he wanted to stand across the room from him. Now he knows about his potential, and yes, he does have wrestling school. Yes, he's never been a manager, but knows tools and knows potential, and he's offered whatever kind of advice. If he needs some, he's there. So, yeah. Hook thanked him, and they had a bit of a face-to-face, and yeah. Yeah. About as good as it could have gone. Yeah. Mercedes on commentary as Kris Statlander for Skye Blue versus Will Nightingale versus Anna Jay. 4-way women's match to determine the number one contender at Dynasty for TBS Championship. Solid match. All the women got a good amount of offense in. Cold Blue by Skye Blue. You saw the facial expressions by Stokely. Hilarious. Just hilarious. But, yeah. And Willow won with a Dr. Bomb being Anna Jay to become the number one contender for the TBS Championship. Interesting dilemma as Mercedes Moné is on commentary, and we can see since Big Business that they're setting up a feud between Mercedes and Willow. Now, I'm sure people were curious as Serena Deeb dropping hints about fighting Mercedes. Well, it doesn't seem that way with how Serena has not really been on. She's been on Collision. And, trapped on Collision. She hasn't appeared on Dynamite. So, yeah. But it poses an interesting dilemma for Dynasty because Willow's going to fight Julia Hart. Now, does Mercedes... It depends how much we see Mercedes. It's a question of, does she cost Willow the TBS Championship, or does she make her presence felt after the match, say Willow wins it, to set up a title feud between her and Mercedes? Because she and Julia have had some differences the last couple weeks. And I don't know. It could go either way. Just, I don't know. But we'll see. Kudos for Willow. Dustin Rhodes. He was backstage with Renee, and he was confronted by the Butcher. And Butcher called out Dustin for a fight, and it was announced for Rampage, a bunkhouse match between the two. The first bunkhouse match between them, the Blade, and QT Marshall. That one was a good one. But, you know, I don't know. So, but when people look at the excitement being down despite the very good matches that were on Dynamite compared to the last few weeks, you can definitely point to this segment, for one. Orange Cassidy and Trent Barreta versus the Undisputed Kingdom's Mike Bennett and Matt Taven. Quarterfinals in the AEW World Tag Team Title Tournament. The winner goes on to face the Young Bucks next week. Now, if you've been listening to the channel the last summer weeks, you can tell, and I get why the decision, but at the same time, a bit suspect. So, Orange Cassidy and Trent Barreta won here, okay. So, a few things. Adam Cole last week said it's now Wardlow's obligation to make sure Roddy and the Kingdom keep on their titles. That's fair. At the same time, though, tournament for the AEW Tag Team titles, which are better, more prestigious. Shouldn't Wardlow be out there? Now, last time, or last year, they made that angle out of Wardlow's car being broken into and his passport being stolen. So, you know, that's the reason, you know. But I mean, and I get it. Young Bucks are heels, and they're going to beat Orange Cassidy and Trent next week. But, I mean, really, the Undisputed Kingdom at least needs some sort of momentum. And I get it. Don't want to do heel versus heel, but you had this momentum coming out of Revolution, a bit of momentum, with Wardlow winning, and Roddy winning. Now, it's like we're back to square one. So when is Adam Cole gonna come back to in reaction? Because just him being on the sideline, conducting these great promos, it's not exactly great. I mean, Adam Cole's great, but the Undisputed Kingdom need legs to stand on. But I mean, I said what I said, but the match here was pretty good. So Orange Cassidy early on hit a dive on the Kingdom on the outside. Matt Taven got the advantage by hitting a pile driver on Trent on the apron, back and forth in the ring. Orange got the odd tag after beatdown Trent. Bit there for a while, and then Taven looked like he was going for a pile driver again on Trent, but Trent countered and hit rolled up with a jackknife cover for flash pin, and just like that, Trent and Orange Cassidy I think the other feeling is to talk about winning the big one. Orange Cassidy just lost his international title, and I think people are kind of iffy about seeing Orange Cassidy these days. They would like for him to take a break from a reaction, maybe a week or two. So, if Chuck Taylor and Trent Barreta, the real best friends, they're wrestling and they got the win, it'd feel like a more heartwarming victory. But Trent Barreta and Orange Cassidy, it's good for Trent, but it's yeah. Nonetheless, Young Bucks made their arrival on the stage, eyeing up Trent and Orange Cassidy after, and basically having a bit of words discussed all in all between each other before next week, which should be a fun match between the two in the semis, and Young Bucks should go to Dynasty, but yeah. Kyle O'Reilly. Speaking of, basically a side story for the Undisputed Kingdom. So, Kyle O'Reilly talked about his win, his return match, and what was a solid match for Rod Keith. Talked again about his story and mentioned how, or he was asked about the Undisputed Kingdom, saying he loves and praises them. Talked about doing it on his own, and see him again on Collision. Kyle O'Reilly flying solo. So, yeah. Kyle O'Reilly, good. very talented. Clearly, Kyle is more fit for the Undisputed Kingdom than Wardlow. I mean, Wardlow doesn't need the Undisputed Kingdom. O'Reilly needs the Undisputed Kingdom. Simply put. And then you got two capable tag teams in that group. Good. I mean, Red Dragon, very good. Bobby Fish, where's the lie? We could definitely see him back in AEW, but we'll see. After you said you go to war for Triple H. Main event. Number one contendership on the line for the AEW World title. Swerve Strickland vs. Konosuke Takeshita. This was very good. Very good, as you expect. Yes. Was it predictable? Yes. Was it a solid, very good match? Yes. And can appreciate. I mean, yes, people are so and so because Takeshita lost. We saw first Ospreay at Revolution. Crazy. And the rankings have returned, but we have not seen them updated in weeks until now. And I'll give my thoughts after this match. So, but this match, very good. We knew Swerve is going to win. It seems like Dynasty, as much as I love Samoa Joe, it feels like it's going to be Swerve's crowning moment. Dicey. I mean, I know people are complaining or annoyed about Swerve not being his moment at Revolution, but at the same time, his moment would have been in the back behind the curtain because of Sting's retirement. So, oh no, give Joe a defense, give him a bit more time with the title, and then have Swerve. Now, yeah, this is very good match. Takeshita, we know, is good enough to have some gold around his waist. And Don Callis with him has been very good. And he's looked more and more like a badass. So, early on, bit of a filling out process, neck and neck. Swerve hit a big neck breaker through the ropes that got him in their fall, followed by a big back breaker. Went for a suplex, but Takeshita countered into a brainbuster. Takeshita landed some solid shots during this match. Big forearms, which one point of the match decked Swerve. Swerve then went some more offense, but countered by Takeshita. He is nice forward of offense here. He is sit out at 5, followed by a running drop kick. Then a tope over the top. Back in the ring. After they were on the top rope, Swerve hit a big DT, followed by a Skye twister, or, whatever you want to call it, but for a near fall. Takeshita fired back. He hit a poison raw, followed by a blue thunderbomb. Good near fall. Back and forth in between. Swerve launched Takeshita and then fired with a back in ring with a leaping flatliner for a near fall. Swerve went for the swerve stomp, but Takeshita moved out of the way onto the apron. Didn't face Swerve as he hit a swerve stomp on the apron. Takeshita fired with some offense. Swerve went for a JML driver, but Takeshita rolled through with a wheelbarrow German suplex, followed a big running knee for a near fall. Swerve finally, with a big near fall, hit a house call and then a swerve stomp, which I think many thought that was it, but it wasn't for a near fall. Swerve then got a big height and then hit a standing swerve stomp. Followed with a JML driver, 1, 2, 3. And Swerve got the victory. And is now the new #1 contender for the AEW World Title. Very good for Swerve, right outcome, right decision. And yeah, Swerve first Joe made it official for Dynasty. Joe was in the backstage. She was pacing, watching the monitor. Renee, right after the win, he caught up with Joe, just like right out of the gate, and asked Joe for his thoughts. Joe was receiving and talked about next week, Swerve, when he come down the aisle and into the ring to sign that contract, I will make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. And you think you're that guy, but you're not. So yeah, Swerve for show, made official for Dynasty. So yeah, 3 solid matches made official for Dynasty. Joe versus Swerve, Julia Hart versus Willow, Nightingale, and Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay, which I think by now, as I'm recording the second part of this, Blackpool Combat Club are in Mexico for that big 8-man tag. So, interesting. But I said I was going to give my thoughts on the new rankings, and I will. Just because Tony Khan, right after Dynamite, had the rankings ready, and I can already tell people are going to have opinions. So let's just roll through. So for the men, Swerve is number one contender. We already know that. So, and then it's already suspect. So then we got Orange Cassidy, Jon Moxley, Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson to narrow out the top 5. I think we can all agree of why the heck is Orange Cassidy at 2. Why? Because he's former champion or what? I'm sorry if I don't watch Rampage or Collision enough anymore, but seriously, why? If anything, Christian Cage, being a former champion, now should be in the top 5 if it's for the men. Eddie Kingston deserves more than Orange Cassidy to be in the top 5. Ospreay already in the top 5. Moxley, okay. So, women's rankings, top 5. So, Toni Storm, Julie Hart, the 2 women's champions. I guess that's the other weird dilemma because you have the 4 titles for the men, you have the 2 titles for the women, and it's just one pair of rankings in between for the men and the women. Since Okada is now new champion. Funny thing is, when you look at it, Adam Copeland is the only babyface champion for the men. So, interesting dilemma. But for the women, you got Thunder Rosa, who I guess because she beat Toni Storm, primarily why she's the number 1 contender. Mariah May, she's number 2. Willow, she's now number 1 contender for the TV's championship. She's 3. Dang it, I lost them. Where? One sec, I have to find the rankings in. Okay, there we go. Deonna Purrazzo, who just fought for the women's championship at Revolution. She's number 4. Serena Deeb, number 5. Valid. Yes, I know what I just said about Collision and Rampage. At the same time, I've been following and know that Serena Deeb and Mariah May have still been racking up some wins. So I get why they're in the top 5. I get that part sure. Tag teams. Now it's weird because the titles are vacant. So it's weird looking at the rankings, but Best Friends, it's interesting how they say Best Friends because the original best friends are Chuck Taylor, Trent Barreta. They haven't done anything. Orange Cassidy, Trent Barreta won on Wednesday. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, okay. Moxley and Claudio. A weird dilemma because they weren't even in the tournament. Big Bill, Ricky Starks, okay, former champions. FTR, okay. Yeah, it's weird. The trios rankings. Okay, so they call them. They should be back to Bullet Club Gold. But they quote say the Bang Bang Gang, in which it's Bullet Club Gold. Hence Jay White and the Guns. Should be number one contenders. But nonetheless, I agree. The Elites. I imagine the new Elite, the Bucks and Okada. Okay. Blackpool Combat Club, the Undisputed Kingdom, in the top 5, okay. They've been racking some wins. The House of Black, which fine they're in the top 5, but why did they keep losing? I hate that. Really do. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the top 5, and that's my AEW Dynamite review. So, thank you guys all. So, few days I should have Collisions back on Saturday, tomorrow night. So, interesting. So, I will have a video up talking about SmackDown and Collision. Probably Sunday night, yeah. But keep your eyes open and keep you guys in the know. Anyway, guys, thank you all. Be safe. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like if you like this video. We want to see more. But nonetheless, thank you guys. Also, comment. I enjoy the feedback. So, thank you guys all. Be safe. I'm Joe, 2 in love. See you guys next time. Peace.